Hello, True Health Seeker, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Learn True Health podcast. Today is the continuation of our interview with Alex Torres. You can find him on Instagram at Meal Prep Mondays. Before we get into the rest of our interview, and I think it's actually, he gives a lot of great tips, so I'm excited for you to hear it. I got an email this morning from one of our listeners, and she wanted to let you know about something really cool. So let me read you her email. This is from April. Hi, Ashley. Haha. You probably get a ton of fan mail, so here's another one for your pile. Thanks, April. I was diagnosed with celiac disease about a year ago, and I was shocked because I felt I was such a healthy person and so aware of what health was. I wanted to learn more about disease through podcasts to be able to better utilize my long commute, and stumbled upon yours and have been loving it ever since. All of this being said, I've also been getting into all the docu-series that's been going around, like The Truth About Vaccines, Oral Health Summit, Dr. Z's Essential Oil series, The Sacred Planet, etc. I just wanted to let you know about the autoimmune docu-series coming up by Dr. Tim O'Brien. Starts April 2nd, so I hope you see this in time. I just found out about it today from Dr. Z's newsletter about basal EO and inflammation, so maybe you've seen it already too. Again, love your show. Thank you so much for all you do. Keep being you and kicking butt. Thank you, April. I actually have never heard of half of these docuseries. I am so impressed and really excited. I know that if you would love it, then a lot of other listeners would love to know about it. So, listeners who want to learn more about the how to heal the body from autoimmune disease, I really think that this needs to be looked at, because what I'm seeing now from so many doctors that I'm following and learning from is that autoimmune disease is 100% reversible. And I have a few episodes actually, a few interviews I've done recently that I'm going to be publishing soon that get into a bit of this. So it's quite exciting. So if you or anyone you know has an autoimmune condition, or if you're just really like me, love to geek out on this information, then check out Dr. Tom O'Brien's immune docu-series. I'm sure you can just Google Dr. Tom O'Brien and find it. I'll see if I can find it and put it in the links here in the show notes. I also wanted to let the listeners know about the truth about pet cancer that's coming up on April 4th. It starts April 4th. You can go to learntruehealth.com/pet. That's learntruehealth.com/pet. And if you have a cat or a dog, or if you have a friend or family member with a cat or dog, then you'll definitely want to watch it, or you definitely want to let them know about it, because all the information that they're going to share for free will give you the tools to help your animal be super healthy, live longer, and also will save you thousands of dollars in vet bills. So I think it's really worth it for us to watch, to learn why is it that pet cancer has gone through the roof, and what can we do about it to help extend the life of our animals and have them be as healthy as we are. Listen, if we're eating organic and getting going down the road of being super healthy with our food, but we keep feeding the same stuff to our pets, there's something that doesn't seem right there. So with that said, what's also very interesting is that our guest today, Alex Torres, actually was able to not only help him heal from Crohn's disease, but he saw a huge shift in his children and his wife, and in the health of their pets as well through making these changes. And he talks about that in our interview. So enjoy today's interview, and please, if you have any feedback or questions or comments, as always, feel free to email me, ashley@learntruehealth.com. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks, April, for sending us this timely information. I'm sure our listeners definitely appreciated it. Have yourself a fantastic rest of your day. Welcome to the Learn True Health podcast. I'm your host, Ashley James. This is episode 244. So let's get into a bit of the actual, like when should people meal prep? What does it look like? So for someone who's never meal prepped before, what does it look like? When should they do it? how should they do it? Can you like just lay it out for us?
Sure. Okay, so I'm going to talk to the people that are single right now, okay? Because I can't just say one general thing for everybody, because everybody lives different lifestyles. And I'm just going by by singles, couples, married couples, and families, okay? Real quick. So single people, get with it, okay? You single people, you got a lot of time on your hand, right? You don't have any kids, I know you might have a job and all that, but it doesn't matter what day for you guys, okay? You do it the day that's best for you. I think it's best in the morning if you have the time, because you're just, generally speaking, you're in a better mood, So morning is best, okay? Now, evenings are fine too. If people work mornings, you got to do that, find the time in the evening. And if you're really tired, just make one meal. Just make one, just make one.
When you say make one, you mean like make one meal, but make like
One meal.
5 portions of it. So it's like,
No, because I always try to get people started. I never, ever, ever, ever will suggest someone to meal prep at first for 5 days. I've come across too many people that it's almost in the beginning it's good. In the beginning they think it's the right thing to do, and like I said, it's one of those things where I say, like I said, you saw it on Instagram, so you or Pinterest or whatever, and you think that that's what you have to do, but that's not true. That can sometimes counteract the whole meal prep vehicle, as I call it. Like what you said. Like I said, you said it was perfect. Meal prep is just a vehicle to help you start, with your food and understanding your food, because you're cooking your own food. The singles, like, I would say start for 1 day or do 2 days, because like I said, what I hate food waste. And I've gotten that a lot from a lot of people. So I don't want to suggest to people and then they say, I threw out all that food, told me to do 5 days, I would say do 1 or 2 days. Now, you'll move on from there. You'll move on from there. I know before I said when you make big changes, you see major changes. Hey, if you're fully committed, especially from the beginning, go for it. Just make sure you cook what you want. All right. So go for it. But I would still suggest 1 to 2 to 3 days just to get started, because that's getting your feet wet. It's getting your feet wet. All right. So now moving on from, the weekend, always good unless you work weekends, right? So then comes the couples, the couples. Here's a little tip for you. If you both know each other well, and this can apply to married couples too, just to make it fun, have your spouse cook for you and you cook for your spouse. If you guys can manage that.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, we were planning on doing not a challenge, so like we wanted to start a trend with that, like on Instagram. So we're gonna try to figure out how to do it, like friend meal prep or something like that, or like friends that can meal prep for one another. And so what's the plus side to that? You just simply tell your spouse, significant other, whoever, like I like Italian and Mexican and Greek, right? Anything like that. And the other person's like, okay, cool. I like Mexican too, and I like whatever. So then and then throw a couple of ideas, and then they can try to make the meals for themselves, and that makes a lot of fun. Or they could just simply make themselves the meals. And again, as long as you have the time, weekends are always best. I would say Saturdays. And I would even say sometimes Mondays and Tuesdays. I find my energy to do it on those days. So you could try that. Now for families, okay? Parents with kids. I have 4 kids. I have 2 dogs. I have Crohn's disease, and I got all that going for me. And the best way that we do it is we do take turns. So I'll do probably the majority of the cooking, and I pretty much tell my wife, I say, hey, go outside with the kids, or go to the backyard, or go to the park. And, this is probably on a weekend or whatever, and usually on Saturday sometimes. And they'll go for at least an hour or 2. And that gives me just enough time to make them food for when they get back, as well as extra dishes. So what do I make? I'll make extra white rice. Again, like I told you, as always, sweet potato. Let's see, cauliflower rice. We leave leftover quinoa, black beans. If you take a look at our fridge now, we do it in bulk now. So we have these big, Tupperware containers that will just fill up to the top with black beans, the other one up to the top with red kidney beans. And let's see, the quinoa, big bowl, huge bowl. So you just go in there and scoop it out, and like you grab your plate, you go to the refrigerator, and or you could, because we're starting to use less of the microwave, so we'll just use a pan. We'll take the pan and boom, a big thing of rice or quinoa, beans, and then the salad's already there, so that's pretty quick. But all that kind of stuff, we'll just cook it quick, so it's like bulk. I think that's the best way for families, just because there's so many people. Can you imagine how many containers you would have to put, each individual container? You'll need another refrigerator, you know? So for families, cook in bulk. And again, cook something in general. Ask the family, hey, I'm going to cook what you guys want. You guys want some, whatever. You want some extra pico de gallo that you want to make and leave there for a couple of days so they can add to tacos or salads or whatever. All that's good. But for families, I would say cook in bulk. Ask your family what you need, what they like. Start telling them like, hey, I'm going to introduce you to a couple of new vegetables and stuff like that. And if you want to do that with vegetables, cook little, because I would say like 1 to 2 days, depending on the vegetables. If they have a lot of water retention, they'll get soggier quicker. So like maybe 1 to 2 days. But anything like carrots and stuff like that are much more firm, asparagus, you name it, that can stay, as long as you don't overcook it and it still has a little bite to it, that'll definitely stay good for several days. But really, families, again, I think that's the best bet. Cook in bulk. Have it right there, readily available when you open that fridge. So there's no question about it. Again, you grab your rice or your beans and you're this and you're that, and it's in bulk. You warm it up, you're good to go. And if you need it to meal prep and you need to go out, we grab our containers and we start filling up the containers and we go. And we make a lot of frozen burritos too, so people might want to consider that. So I think that's the way I've been. That's how I've trimmed it down in the past couple of years, from anyone from being single to families.
Nice, very cool. And I noticed that you went from plastic containers to glass, and I have to say, definitely congratulations on that because I interviewed a naturopath on the show who was one of the doctors for um, Paul McCartney's wife. So Paul McCartney's wife, who it was vegan. This was like a long time back when the Beatles were like still touring, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or like when Paul McCartney was touring, she would bring her containers or Tupperware containers of vegan food on the plane with them on the jet, and heat it up in the microwave, and heat it up in the microwave in the hotel and at the concert, wherever the concert was. um Years later she developed breast cancer, and she went through all the treatments, and right at the end of her life she found this doctor, this naturopath, and he's like, okay, bring me all these. He started asking her questions like to try to figure out where the cancer was from, and he says, bring me your Tupperware. And she basically had the same Tupperware her entire vegan career. And they tested it, and they tested the cancer tissue, and sure enough, the cancer tissue was full of the toxic substances that are in Tupperware, that are in
Mm,
plastic. Because
right.
when we store food in plastic and when we heat it in plastic, that leaches into our body, and that's cancer causing. And so
Yeah,
he's like,
we're moving on also we're recently, like within the next month or two, we will be even switching over mostly to compostable. So
let's tell me about that. So I saw in on your Instagram, you're like, so you're using these really cool glass containers, but now tell
yes.
me about your compostable containers.
So again, it's crazy what going plant-based does to you. Again, the brain fog goes away. So you're thinking clearly now, right? And then you look back and you start looking at the house, and for example, like we had those all right, so the containers. Let me start with the containers. We had containers up the wazoo. It was incredible. And I said, if this is just my house, I can't imagine other houses. I can't imagine
Mm-hmm.
what this is doing. I had a couple companies send me the plastic ones, the black ones with the clear lids, and I'm just like, gosh, like this is. And like I said, this is coming from a guy that does meal prep. It's like, I don't know. Like at first I thought they were really cool, but like what damage is it really doing to the planet and all that kind of stuff and to us.
Mm-hmm.
And then I complained too much about glass because I said, what if it breaks, and what if it's that, and what if it, those are all excuses. It's just cheap. Glass is, plastic was cheaper, so I was just using that as an excuse. But glass has been the best. We store a lot of it in there. We don't warm up anything in plastic anymore. We still have a couple of plastic ones, but for from we're moving on to compostable just because I was inspired by it by going to a restaurant, a vegan restaurant around about in Orlando, and not only were a lot of their bowls and stuff like that compostable, but even their the silverware and all that. And I was just like, that's taking it to a whole nother level. Like, not only are you also eating good, but now you're using a container that'll just basically, break apart in a landfill. It's not going to sit there. It's not going to go into the ocean and sit there for 2,000 years. It's so again, it to me, being that I've become more plant based in the past, 8 months. I find it like, I'm like, what else? What other good can I do? What other good can I do? And so it was moving on to the glass, and now moving on to probably compostables and all that. And
So what is
it's
it? What is it? Is it made of, like, it's non-toxic, obviously. It's not plastic, but is it made of like fiber, like out of
yes,
plant
it's made
fiber?
out of plant fibers. Correct.
Can you eat it?
Yep.
Like, could you eat your bowl?
Uh, that's a good question. I believe you can. I don't think it's going to taste good. And it might even go down a little rough, but I don't believe it'll kill you or anything like that. There's no chemicals in it. I think it's mostly like some type of husk, plant fibers, and, a couple of other things. And so it's, I've done the research. I'm even talking to a CEO of one of the companies that actually manufactures them right now I think he's in Chicago or maybe even California. So I'm finding out more about it, and that it's becoming much more affordable now. So I hope that becomes more mainstream and people start using it. But yes, I definitely use glass, and we're probably going to start integrating more compostable things
Mm-hmm.
because again, too, I got my kids. My kids are watching us, so I I can't lie to them and tell them, hey, the planet's great. There's no dirt around here. We ain't got no garbage piles in every county. That's not the truth. That's hiding the truth. So I also want to teach my kids, look, us as humans and as a society, we've kind of been doing things wrong for a while, and our new generations are kind of understanding that, and we're like, you know what, we should change things. We should not just continue doing the same things as we always done. And so I'm also trying to teach that to the kids. Like, we got to be more considerate of the planet, of ourselves, of our body, of those around us, and all of that. And a lot of what we do, just be a little bit more considerate. If the whole world could just be a little bit more considerate to everyone, gosh, this planet would be so nice. But it's just one of those little things I'm trying to also teach my kids of you do have the power to make a change, and you do have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
You have a choice.
Vote with your
You don't
fork.
have to,
Yep. Vote with your
right, that
actions. Vote
too.
with your fork. Now, these really cool compostable containers, which sound awesome. We need to, like, follow at Meal Prep Mondays on Instagram so that when you start to promote them or sell them, or I don't know how you're going to be involved with these companies, but that we'll be able to learn more and plug into you. Um,
Yes.
you have to also be. I mean, it's sort of like what's not toxic, right? My problem with glass, and I use glass a lot, is that they use lead to make a glass tempered. So
Mm.
if you heat things, like you cook Pyrex is like this gorgeous glass, cookware. It has lead in it. Just I'll give you an example. If you have any Pyrex, you can probably get some at thrift stores. I don't know if they sell it anymore because there's lead in it.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
If you take Pyrex and you put some water in it and you boil it for like 20 minutes, like just like just a very little, like a half a cup, and then you let it cool, and then taste the water, or leave food in it overnight. Like, put food in your Pyrex and put it in the fridge, and the next day try it. It'll taste like lead. It'll taste just like you chewed a pencil, and because
Hmm.
lead is leaching into the food. So I think it's the process of heating. So I think storing it is fine. I just think that, heating it in the glass is a problem.
Gotcha.
So it's like, what's healthy? Is ceramic the best? Is stainless steel the best? And then, of course, stainless steels have now been known to be not 100% stainless. A lot of these companies from China will claim to be 100% surgical stainless, and they're not. And they'll have
Mm.
other, they'll have like aluminum and things like that that are leaching into our food. So I like the idea of these compostable, safe, uh, not reusable, but still very safe containers.
Oh, they can. That's the
They
beautiful thing
they
about it
can be
too. They
reusable.
not not. I want to say if you don't put any liquids, it's possible you could use it maybe one more time. And the beautiful thing about it too is this company, they're using a food grade liner that goes inside to prevent leaks, and the beautiful thing is even the ones that don't have that don't leak. They're leak proof, and so I'm sorry, not leak proof. It won't completely penetrate through. And then they also have another one, like I said, with a plant-based liner within it, and those I want to say that you could definitely use those probably 2 or 3 times. I mean, if you butcher the container, because again, remember, don't forget it's compostable. So if it's beat up around the corners and all that, I doubt you'll be able to use it. But with that liner, I want to say maybe at least 2 times. At least 2 times, and that's the beautiful thing about it. Again, that's still much better than, like you said, glass and all this other stuff. And glass, like you said, glass is still good. We still use glass. We don't warm up our food in glass. We warm up everything either in the oven or on the stovetop. And I know it is a pain in the butt. I'm not even going to sugarcoat that.
Well,
But
it's
it
not
just
a pain in the butt if you just don't own a microwave. Like if you just stop
we got rid of ours.
yeah, we
Yeah,
don't. I mean, we've had people that come to our house. They're like, like. I had a friend ask me
all
like,
the
"Where's your
time.
microwave?" I'm like, "What?" If you
Yeah,
don't have a microwave after a while, it's not a pain in the butt. It's just, it's been so
exactly.
many years that we haven't used a microwave. It's not. It's not convenient to use a microwave. It's poison to use a microwave. It's just
There you
destroying the
go.
nutrients. And this is really controversial. There's a lot of people that say it's totally safe, it's totally fine. I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, there's something beautiful about spending that 3 minutes heating your food up on a stove, because it does not take long to heat your food up on a stove. But I, put it in the I put it in my Le Creuset. My thing is I love Le Creuset. Like, and that was my one treat. So every year for my birthday or for Christmas, my husband gets me one piece of Le Creuset. And
Mm.
when he goes to the outlet, where there's like a Le Creuset outlet store that's like 30% off.
Oh,
But
lucky
yeah, that's
you.
like exactly right. And so there's something so cool about taking your favorite piece of cookware, like, so, like, really invest. I think investing,
There
don't
you go.
don't get the cheap
Nope.
ass, don't get the non-stick. Like, throughout the Teflon is, they've
Right.
proven it is so toxic. It's so toxic. Don't have anything in your house that's non-stick. Invest in yourself. Go to some gorgeous kitchen store. You don't need to have 20 pots and pans. Don't buy into this idea that you need 20 pots and pans. Go to the kitchen store, some gorgeous kitchen store, and invest in one gorgeous, large, like 20-inch, not frying pan, but those beautiful big pans, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one gorgeous, big, beautiful pot. And
Yep.
love, like, just really feel like you're treating yourself, because I love looking at my cookware. It's like art. It's gorgeous. And I love
Yes,
putting my
me too.
colorful food in there. I really
And
treat
people start
myself.
asking you when
Yeah.
you start cooking with it. And there are people there, they'll ask you, "Where'd you get that? It's beautiful."
Mm-hmm.
It's like you said. That's the investment we should be making. Is some fun, nice little things for the kitchen that will even excite you to get started, right?
Yes, kitchen gadgets. I have this kitchen
Mm-hmm.
gadget, and I'm sure you've seen it. It's this 3-in-1 that opens the avocado, that takes the seed out, and that cuts the avocado. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I just got
It's
one in the mail literally three
oh,
days ago.
isn't
Three
it?
days ago.
Have you like opened 20 avocados with it? Isn't it the best?
Well, you know what it is? I have it there. I've been wanting to use it. Like I said, I only got it 3 days ago. But so the avocados that I have, they're too small, and even the pit's too small. So I can't
Oh,
even use that thing. So I have to wait. I'm gonna go ahead and probably either later today or tomorrow probably not tomorrow for sure. I will be buying another bag of avocados, like the bigger ones. I'll make sure they're bigger so that I can use it because I'm gonna do it on my Instagram story,
Nice.
just for fun because people love it when I do stuff like that. And I'm gonna use it there. So hopefully you'll get to check it
It
out and I'll
is
use it.
the
I'll be thinking of you
best.
when I'm doing it.
Yes, yes, it is the best. It's the best. Find kitchen tools that make you excited. Like I've got this kitchen tool, this banana cutter, and it looks like a circumcision, machine. It looks really scary. We have this joke. My husband and I joked about it, but it's this thing that you put the banana, peel the banana and you put it in, and then you squeeze it, and it cuts the banana into like slices, right? Like it
Right.
like slice, and all you do is put the banana in, make the hand gesture 3 times to squeeze it, and now you've got 20 little banana pieces, like perfect banana pieces. And we
Ah,
use it,
yes.
like we don't use it that often, right? But when we do, it's like fun and exciting. That
Yep.
that 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 uh,
It,
oh,
it it helps. I mean,
right.
I know I know they're little gadgets, and I know a lot of people are like, just another thing for the kitchen. I don't know. I don't know. Everybody's got their thing, but if it's gonna make my life easier and it's fun at the same time, why not?
What are some of your favorite kitchen gadgets that have really helped your meal prep, that have really helped speed up the process and make it fun and easy to cook?
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Knives,
Sharp, really, really
not meal
good
prep
sharp
containers.
knives,
Right.
right?
Actually, two things: a really good cutting board, a
Mm.
very a decent size cutting board, not the one that's the size of a mouse or the size of your keyboard, not that one. I'm talking about a big one. Get a decent size cutting board with some weight, okay, with some weight, and invest in knives. Invest in knives because the worst is trying to cut into a tomato and you're just going back and forth with that knife and it's just making a wrinkle on it. That drives even people that don't normally cook, that'll drive them insane.
Right.
So, but when you have this very sharp, heavyweight knife and you grab that sweet potato and you hardly put any effort and that sucker gets cut in half with very little effort, you're like, bring me a whole bag of sweet potato. I'll cut them all right now because the knife is it's so important. It's so
Mm-hmm.
important. So invest in in good set of knives. A paring knife, like a bread cutter knife, a bread knife, and a good kitchen knife. If you just want to get three, that's good. Just get a good kitchen knife. But you have to have a good knife, and I would suggest getting a really good cutting board and take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
Put them away in the place. My wife already knows. Not Don't put it in the dishwasher. Don't leave it sitting there with water spots. Like we gotta clean it, dry it, put it away. And then the last thing would be my cast iron. All my cast iron pots and pans.
Ooh, and they're really affordable. Cast iron is like crazy affordable, but it takes time
And
to season it, right?
yeah, but a lot of companies are now, you could pay a little bit extra for a seasoned container, a seasoned pan. It's still going to take time, but it's still better than just getting something that's not seasoned, right? So like Lodge, Cast Iron, and all those people, they have some that are seasoned. And then with yours, I mean, once you get it home, give it a good wash, and immediately put some oil in there. I always use olive oil. If I don't have any, I'll put some avocado oil and I'll put it in there. But just same thing, just like with the fruits and vegetables, leave your cast iron pot or pan out, like if it's not somewhere nice and it looks nice or whatever, or just keep it visible, and I promise you, you'll use it more and you'll
Mm-hmm.
season it much more quicker that way. Cook breakfast, cook lunch, cook dinner, and in that thing, and you'll see how quickly you can season it, and it'll be your new best friend. It'll be your new best friend. I was so intimidated at first to use cast iron because of the basic stuff, the weight and this, and how do I wash it? Well, if I put it in the sink, it's going to break all the dishes. It's like just give it time, cook with it, try it. I can almost guarantee you're going to love it. Yes, it's heavy, but don't, again, it's one of those things, like, don't focus on that. Focus on how great that food's going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
We'll cook mushrooms on there and we'll get it really hot. I get these mushroom caps, these large organic mushroom caps from Whole Foods, and I heat that sucker up really good because it's almost like using a grill. So I'll heat that cast iron, but you got to heat it up slowly, you know. And once you get it on there, the food is very different versus cooking with Teflon or something like that. The food cooking in cast iron is it's flavor. It's got flavor, and if I'm not mistaken, I think you get a little iron out of it too in your
Mm-hmm.
food.
Yep.
So it's just a different thing. I've had a couple of friends lately that have asked me, and they said the same thing. I'm intimidated to use cast iron, and so I told them just like I told you. I said, listen, just give it a try. Make sure you put that oil in there in the beginning and at the end. After you wash it, and just keep using it. In time, you'll look at the other pans like, oh gosh, like that's like cheap. Like I don't even want to
Exactly.
use that pan anymore.
Right.
And yeah, so we've gotten rid of a lot of our pans, especially and the ones with Teflon. We got rid of those a long time ago. And I finally convinced my mom and my family like not too long ago to finally get rid of them too. But we definitely hanging on to like the stainless steel and the quality stainless steel. Again, you got to pay a lot, but you're gonna get quality, and the cast iron for sure. So knives, cutting board, and cast iron dishes, pans and pots and pans. They are. I use them every single day, Ashley. Every single day.
I love it. You know what I really like, and I never thought I'd really like. I always, so I've got this giant like bowl, basically this thing that holds all my utensils, right? Just a big. It's kind of a bouquet. It's a bouquet of spatulas. And
Okay.
I find that I will reach, it has the ladles and the spatulas and the spoons and the, everything in it. Cause I like you said, like I also have a drawer full of them. But if I don't, if it's out and I see it, I grab it, right? And I'll use that tool
Yep.
if I can see it. Um, I will automatically reach for my bamboo spoons and stir with them over the plastic spatulas. There's something
Yes, me
about
too.
touching an organic, like it's a, it's a natural, like, bamboo is that
Yes.
natural fiber. And I always grab the bamboo because they can have spoons, and then they also have bamboo ones that kind of look like spatulas. And I love it. I love just stirring with them. There's something about the stirring the food with that feels so much better than anything plastic. But my latest fun gadget is the veggie bullet. So like the bullet is the kind of like
Yeah,
a blender, right? Well, the bullet people that created the blender came up with something called the veggie bullet,
I
and
heard about
it
that.
is crazy. It is like the coolest, like it is the absolute coolest, fun kitchen gadget. It's totally, you don't have to have it. I could have gone the rest of my life not having it and still been happy, but it's like one of those like super fun. So what it does
Yeah.
is it spiralizes almost anything. So you can make carrots into pasta, basically, sweet potatoes into pasta, and beets into pasta. So any hard food, or zucchinis and squash into pasta, right? And
Hmm.
yeah, so it just spiralizes everything. And I made the coolest. So I had friends
I
over.
just I love the gadgets. Like I said,
Yeah,
it's like
if
you
it's
said.
something that you're
There's
gonna
a lot of things
use,
we don't.
right?
There's a lot of things
Totally.
we don't need. But if it's gonna make it fun, just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Exactly. And now I look forward to, I'm like, oh, what am I going to spiralize? What am I going to, so if I'm totally into spiralizing everything right now. Cause I'm like feeding, zucchini noodles to my son and looking at him while he thinks he's eating actual noodles and sort of laughing evilly on the inside. It's a great way to sneak vegetables into your kids, but, it tastes delicious. Like in sweet potato or carrot noodles, I mean, are so yummy and so delicious. So, there if it's like find the fun ways to really enjoy being in the kitchen, and then just make portions that are larger so that it can like be the leftovers for the next day. Like I always it's like that the saying, cook once, eat twice. So
Yes.
make a really big dinner, and then everyone's got leftovers for breakfast or lunch. And have you noticed that when you do food preps, let's say you prep the meals for 3 days, so you make enough food so it lasts for 3 days. Do you notice on the third day the food tastes better than on the first day because there's something it's been marinating, right? So doesn't the food taste even better on the third day?
Yes, absolutely. 100%. Yes, you're 100% right. There's several foods that will actually, especially like stews and like soups and stuff like that. They're definitely going to taste better. The stuff you want to watch out for are things like squash, a zucchini, anything that's again that's has a lot of water in it, uh, because over time, like in a couple of days, it usually turns into mush. Again, unless you cook it, unless it's very, very undercooked, and I still don't think it's gonna matter because the refrigerator is what's gonna do the damage. You know what I mean? So certain foods you should, and again, this is all you learn as you go. But like I never meal prep squash anymore, or um, asparagus I only prep for like maybe 2 days. So certain ingredients you got to take a look and see, is this just going to turn into soup later, or is it going to hold up? Now, for certain things, like you said, that don't have any like soft vegetables or anything like that, yeah, definitely. You know what I've noticed on certain meals, like Mexican dishes and certain Italian dishes and like Indian dishes, those really like pick up flavor within a day or two, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and definitely intensify the flavor. So that's a good point, a good thing you pointed out.
Now, I know we're wrapping up the interview, and it's thank you so much for spending so much time with us.
I loved it.
Yeah, we could definitely have you back on to talk more about this. Um, you've got some gorgeous kids, and you're sneaking a ton of vegetables into them, right? So like, and I noticed on your Instagram you've got some great, like, you made this gorgeous wrap with all these vegetables, and then you cut it up and you put it was so beautiful. You open up the lid and it's this gorgeous spiral of color and just full of vegetables, and it just looks really inviting. What are some tips for parents to do some meal prep for your kids' lunches so you know that they're eating healthy at school?
Okay, so yes, it's like you said. It's not easy, parents. I know it's not easy. I so know it's not easy. Now, the one thing, there's been many different things where I'll cook what they want, or I'll maybe an alternate version of it so it's a little bit better, and this and that, and that'll get them to eat, right? And but the number one thing that's helped, the number one thing that's helped beyond more than I think I could ever do in convincing it or anything like that, is getting them involved and having them cook.
Mm.
Okay, so we were doing one of those mail-in cooking companies, where they send out the stuff to you in the mail and you cook your meals at home. Um, and I took one of the cards and I read it, the recipe cards, and I said, "This is so simple. I know my 9-year-old can do it, and I could just be there and monitor her." So I told her, she was sitting on the couch, watching something on Disney, and I say, "Hey, would you like to cook this for us for tonight?" The first look was like, "Are you crazy?" Right? The second look like, "Are you really are crazy?" Right? And then it's like, "No, come, I'll do it with you." So she didn't know what to say or how to feel, but she got up and she came with me, and she went to the to see what was going on. So I showed her. The beautiful thing is that when you find recipes that are in such a simple form that way, where a kid could learn from. And now my kid is 9. Okay. um she made this. It was like a sandwich filled with vegetables, but it had like ginger and like these Asian inspired seasonings and dressings, the stuff in it. And I'll tell you what, if I made that and gave it to my daughter, there's no way she was going to eat it. There was absolutely no way. She would might have taken a bite, and it would have taken me a lot to get her to get that bite in. Okay. But because she did it on her own, she went around like a waitress, and like they were hors d'oeuvres, going around giving it to everybody that was in our house, saying, "You got to try this. You got to try this. You have to try this."
That is
So
so cool.
it's amazing. And so younger kids, it's just very simple, like sh- um you know cut up all the stuff, but then have the kids build the salad. Like separate, put all those things in a bowl and be like, "Here guys, put whatever you want. You could put strawberries in your salad, you could put cashews, you could put if you want to, you don't want spinach, great, there's some lettuce, some basic romaine if you want to use that." But by allowing them to see it and say, I'm in charge, I'm deciding what I eat. But if you're giving them the options in front of them, and they're like, okay, well, these are my only options, let me start to choose. I got to tell you, that has worked 9 out of 10 times for me. I think they're picking up on it. That's why it's becoming 9 out of 10 times, because it was 10 out of 10. And they're starting to pick up. I'm like, that's how he's getting me to eat this stuff, you know? Especially my 9-year-old. She's very smart. So that has helped me so much that it blows me away sometimes when she starts eating something that I know without a doubt that if I made it for her, she wouldn't have eaten. She would have looked at it, said, ew, no, and would have walked away. Now, with that being said, my kids still, like I said, they still eat really, really good for the most part, but I'm just trying to introduce them more. And again, my success has been that, like, and I've been getting them involved, and I got pictures to prove it since like 5, when they really start to comprehend things. I want to say maybe even up to like between 3 and 4 and 5, because I'm teaching my 3-year-old son, or who's going to be 3 year old soon. So technically speaking, he's still 2, how to plant, and he knows how to put the dirt in the pot and put the plant in there and the seed and to water it. He's 2, almost
Nice.
3. It's because
Nice.
he's seen me and I allow him. Like, I know he's gonna make a mess with the dirt. I know he's gonna make a mess with the water, but the fact that he's doing it alone, I don't focus on the mess. I focus on, like, he's learning, and it doesn't matter that he's 3 or 4. I know there's something, that seed is gonna grow in his mind too, and the same thing is what we're doing with food, and even adults, even we need to go back to cooking class. A lot of us need to go back to cooking class and say, like, gosh, I want to learn how to make a simple meal again. So I think that in the future we'll see a lot more cooking class things around. I think that's going to become a popular thing within the next couple of years, because honestly, again, America needs to learn how to cook at home again and start
Mm-hmm.
cooking some good old home cooked meals. Eat good, feel good from home, and a lot less processed and stuff. We don't live a boring life. Like I told you, we get macadamia milk ice cream, and we still have, like I told you before, Skittles, and we sometimes just candy and stuff like that. And so we're not, we're like you. We're 95% good, the majority of the time. And they say that I'm too much. I take it overboard. Like, I have flax every day. I
Nice.
have my 369 oil almost every day. I have my probiotic almost every day. I drink apple cider vinegar probably 2 times a day. Small amounts, and I dilute it. And I can go on and on and on. But like this year, I'm feeling so good, Ashley, that I want to see how far I can take it. Do you know what I
Yes.
mean?
How good can you feel? I love
Right,
it.
exactly.
I love that you brought up that this starts in the mind. Like this whole, if you're deciding to food prep, it really starts with knowing your environment, knowing you're going to come up against the naysayers who
Mm,
love you, but and I know I've got a lot of naysayers who love me. I've got a lot of friends and family who just do not understand the being gluten-free thing, and do not understand the not eating meat, for example. We went out the other night, and my friend like was pushing lamb on me. I'm like, I just had to keep saying like, nope, no thanks. He's like, but you don't, you like
but
lamb?
it's
I'm like,
lamb.
yes, I've my old Ashley likes lamb. New Ashley does not like lamb, and I like lamb, but I'm not going to eat it anymore, right? So,
Right.
but I mean, he wasn't going to make fun of me or anything, but he was pushing it because and it's exactly what you said. He loves me so much. In his mind, he knows that I like lamb, and therefore he's
Yep.
offering it to me because he thinks I'm suffering as a person not eating meat, right? Or I must be suffering
Yes.
not eating gluten. And
Isn't
so
it crazy?
here's the bread. I'm offering you this bread because you must be suffering, you poor suffering fool, for not eating something that is so as good as bread, right? And it's just it's funny, like I'll go on this diet of eating a certain way, and then I'll have this family member always does this, where this
Hmm.
family member will say, like, and this family member will, like, kind of like on one hand make fun of us for not being 100% our perfect body weight, and then like in the same breath like try to offer us some cookies. Like, I swear to God, it's just the funniest thing. It's like, I am not eating that.
I
But
know. I still get people, they say, like, but not even a little bit of chicken? Like, have a little bit.
or a little bit of cookies.
No.
But
Yeah,
what
it's
what
like,
but what is great is, and this is, I learned this from another guest, because I've been telling people, I've been kind of fighting people like I'm gluten free, right? And I kind of have to go up against the new battle every time I meet someone. It's like, no, I don't eat that. Well, why don't you eat that? And that's stupid. That doesn't work. And I tried being gluten free, and it does total hoax. I've had people just like tell me it's a complete. This is a total hoax. It doesn't exist. Gluten's good for you, like whatever. And I'm not here to try to convert everyone. I'm just like, my philosophy is try it for a month,
Of course.
see how you feel, right? See if it makes a difference. For me, 1 month of being gluten free, I lost 25 pounds of water weight.
Oh, you gotta love
I
that.
went down 1.5 ring sizes. My husband went down 2 ring sizes. We had to have our rings readjusted after going gluten
Yes.
free. So that to me, and now my rings are loose again after going
Same here.
mostly plant based, right? And so what I learned from this, one of these guys I had on the show, he's like a health coach, and he said, stop telling people you're gluten free or you're vegan or whatever. Like, stop telling people the label that you're eating, right? Instead, when they offer you something, say, no thanks, that doesn't, I don't feel good when I eat that food.
Oh, I love that.
Because you
I
can't
love that.
argue. You can't argue. You can't say, no, you do eat, bread does make you feel good. Here, eat some. Like, you can't argue with that. I'm sorry, that doesn't make me, I don't feel good when I eat that food. Thank
I
you
love it.
for offering it to me. I don't feel good when I eat that food. And that complete, now you're not challenging their, because it's like, if you tell someone who eats meat that you're vegan, or if you tell someone who eats gluten that you're gluten free, or you tell someone who
Right.
drinks dairy they're dairy free, you're challenging
Just
their worldview.
mm-hmm.
And how dare you try to challenge their worldview?
I love it. I
And
love what you're
yeah,
saying right now. It
and so
makes
just
it's
J-
perfect sense.
So just say, no, thank you. I noticed I don't feel good when I eat that. They might ask some follow-up questions like, well,
Yes.
how do you, like, what do you mean? What do you feel? And it's more now they're like, well, wait a second. Maybe this food doesn't make me feel good either. Like, I want to know
Oh,
what did it do to
you know,
you? And then
I
you can
had
talk
someone.
about, yeah, being
Yeah.
bloated or whatever. Yeah.
It. That's what I was gonna say. I love everything you just said right now because not only not only is it a better way to just like try to like kill that so that it doesn't become this
It's like
conversation,
disarming it.
but
Yeah.
right, exactly, perfect, disarming it. But it's gonna make them question themselves. Also, I love that. That's why I'm telling you, I love what you just said because and think about it. Think about it. It always starts with you questioning yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Almost everything and every change we make, we start by questioning ourselves.
Well, look at, like, why do we eat the way we eat, right? Because I've been examining this since January, since like
Me
my
too.
husband so easily went, totally meatless, and I'm like almost there. I'm so close to being
Hey,
like, I'm almost there, right?
I
90,
have faith in you.
95%. I know. Thank you, thank you. But I've been sitting here like really contemplating, like, because my mom was really obsessed with dieting, and that's what kind of led me on this horrible yo-yo dieting my whole adult life, till I
Mm,
finally found like a healthy relationship with food instead of the yo-yo dieting. But she was a model like growing up, so she was an actual like runway model, and so she was really obsessed, like unhealthfully obsessed. And so when I
gotcha.
started going through puberty, girls, as you're about to see with your girls, they're supposed to gain about 50 pounds over 1 or 2 years. It's part of puberty. I mean, they're growing up, but they're growing, in areas, as
Right.
puberty happens. And when puberty happened for me, and I was very athletic, I was a figure skater, and I did jazz ballet, and I just on and on. I did every day. I was doing activities, and I was eating healthy because we ate very healthy in our family. Um, my mom interpreted my going through puberty as me gaining weight and immediately put me on diets. And so all my teenage years I was on diet after diet after diet, and she had me be very conscious
Yep.
of my weight and my food, which is this self-fulfilling prophecy. And so it was like I was not getting the nutrition I needed through my teenage years because of that dieting, which led to
Mhm.
nutrient deficiencies and then more
Oh yeah.
disease. And then, of course, then I went completely the opposite direction to lash out, right? And to
Yes,
rebel,
I know
right?
what you're saying.
So the more we try to like force our kids one way, that's do not do that. It's like the worst thing you can do. But instead empower them to learn what to eat, what not to eat, and why they should make those food choices. But anyway, so like dieting and my teenage years, like this, like, why do we eat the way we eat? And I've gone back and looked, like, every diet my mom had me on had meat in it. There was
Mm-hmm.
never once in all the 30 plus diets I've been on my life, there was never one diet that was like, hey, how about you try not eating meat and instead eating all these wonderful fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds and whole grains and legumes, right? There was not one. And so in my mind, I mean, I grew up eating like almost meat at every single meal. And that's
Me
so
too.
it's like so many people eat the way they eat because that's how they were raised to eat. And look at our belief system. Like, what belief system do you just believe is true? Like, let's say your whole family was Republicans, your whole family was Democrats. Like, do you believe what you believe because everyone around you believed that as you grew up? Like, do you have your own belief system, or is that a belief system who you just adopted from everyone? So, do you eat meat? Do you have eggs for breakfast because it makes you actually, do you know it actually makes you feel good, or do you drink milk because you know it actually makes you feel good? Or
Mm-hmm.
is that something that your grandma and your mom did and that's why you do? And so I've had to, like, really ask myself, like, well, what is it, about every single food that I put in my mouth? Am I putting this in my mouth because it's a habit from birth?
Mm-hmm.
Or
Mm-hmm.
is it something that's nourishing my body that my body really needs?
Well,
And
actually,
yeah.
you this that is this is the same road I've been taking. That's why it just it sounds like I'm listening to myself 100%. If my wife was here listening, she would just be like, hitting me with her elbow, like, gosh, she's saying everything you're saying. So I did my own research too. I
Mhm.
asked my parents, including a lot of other people that are in their 60s and 70s, okay, including strangers, okay, like I have no shame, you know what I mean? Like I will ask. Um, I asked when you were younger, when you were a teenager, and this would be out of the blue, so they were not knowing what to expect with the question, so they weren't prepared for it. And I would all ask them, did you eat meat every day when you were younger? And all of them looked at me like I was crazy. And they said, absolutely not. No. And
Mhm.
it is including my parents. And I said, so how often did you eat meat? And again, not just my parents, but everyone else that they said, well, special days.
Mhm.
And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, maybe birthdays, maybe once every other weekend if our neighbor gave us something, or just something along those lines. And I'm just and you know what? The funniest is after I ask them that, all their faces do the same thing. They start wondering everything you just said. Everything
Mhm.
you just said. And then that's what led me to also believe, just exactly like you said, why am I eating all this? Why if my parents did, they didn't teach me this.
Mm.
Well, some of the stuff they did. Yes, definitely. But I don't blame them either. I actually blame partly like media in the United States. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like the
Oh, sure.
overwhelming media and all that kind of stuff. My parents came from Puerto Rico, so they came from Puerto Rico, they came here. They wanted to live the American dream. They bought a house. We did all that. And they also started following, we had the TVs and all the latest electronics. I lived, my parents, like, they raised us good. But when it came to food, they were just, it was like, whatever, you know? But the funny thing is, like, my parents, they didn't eat that, and they told us to, like, like, you should watch it, eating all that, but no one ever really knew why. And then we have
Right.
all this advertising around us, and everyone else is doing so. Hey, so and so eats all they want. Look at them; they're fine. I'm sure the same thing happened to me. And that's like the biggest mistake. So media has played a big factor too. I can actually see with my 9-year-old how even the very little media that we give her, the very little screen time that she gets, she's still getting influence in some weird ways. And I look at my
Mhm.
wife like, God, that's totally from TV. That's totally
Mhm.
from TV or from YouTube. And so we start, again, if it, back then and still now, it's like heavy influence on food, 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 fast food. It's on every corner, and then you can't help it either because it's like, am I gonna really go 20 minutes or 15 minutes to go pick up some really good food when this place is down the block? We just, I think too that if we cut back on screen time, not
Mm.
only, like, I got to tell you, like, cutting back on screen time has helped my anxiety a lot,
Mm.
a lot. And for the past couple of days, what I'll do is, I will take pictures because, again, and since I'm an influencer, I got to be doing more stuff and all that. Um, I don't use my phone anymore, or I'll actually delete Instagram from my phone because I know myself. I'll be on there all day. So I'll delete it from my phone, but I will go out throughout the day, whatever it is that I want to post, and I'll just take pictures or a video, and
Mm-hmm.
then the next day I'll find a little block of time and take about maybe 15 minutes and say, okay, I'm going to post this stuff, browse through my Instagram, and then I go and delete the app again.
Wow.
And then and whatever other apps that I know that I'm going to be on there for a while, and
Mm-hmm.
I know it sounds funny or whatever, it makes a
No,
huge difference in my day, and I go to
totally.
sleep feeling more fulfilled because I get a lot more done. So limiting that screen time for between me and my family has also been a big factor. Listen, I know a lot of people have heard this before. You've heard this before. It is about balance. It is, but it should still be weighed way more on the side of less screen time, less processed foods and all that kind of stuff, and very little bit of that stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
that we can still be part of the society that we're in and be like, yeah, I still watch a little YouTube here and there, and yeah, I got a phone, but like we just need to scale back a lot on a lot of stuff that we're doing here in the U.S. and when it comes to food and screen time. I think between food and screen time, and I say screen time because it could be computer, TV, phone, you name it,
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely also having effect on our minds, because when we're going through so much, we're seeing so much being processed in our minds of all this information
Mm-hmm.
that we feel overwhelmed, and then the anxiety kicks in, and then the anxiety kicks in, and then the eating comes in.
Mm.
You know what I mean? At least that's how it's been for me. That's 100% sure. I will never deny that. I will stand to it. Yes, that is me. I do that. Yeah, I was doing that. Now it's different. If I go do that, I'll go stuff my face with, like, I don't know, avocados or something. So it's very
I
different in
did
that aspect.
baby carrots the other day. I did a little binge session in front of my computer with baby carrots. And I'm like, you know what? I looked over at the bag. I'm like, I am totally binging right now on baby carrots. I'm like, you know what? The worst that can happen is I'll turn orange, right? Like
Yeah.
there's it's really hard to binge
Yeah.
on fruit and vegetables and have a negative impact happen.
Right. That's the thing. You know what I mean? So it's always about that. Like I said, I still garden, and I'll listen to rap music or heavy metal. I listen to everything. So I yes, I'm here, like I'm planting stuff and I'm growing my little garden, but I'm still listening to hip hop and all the latest music. It's just about, like, I want to become like a more modernized, like, I think in the future I might be like a modernized, like, farmer. Like, I think plant-based news has been finding out that
Mm,
more people are wanting to let go of the cubicle jobs and wanting to go work in farms.
yes.
There's like a study going around, and it's
Yeah.
funny because I've noticed that I've been transitioning myself into that, and like I kind of see myself as like a super modern, hip farmer who likes to, like, or plant-based eater slash farmer slash,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. I just, like, because I feel, again, like, if I could make cooking your own food and, like, going plant-based and all this cool, because that's how some people are driven, like, oh, that looks
Mhm.
pretty cool, I'll do that. Then if that's what it takes, I'll do that too. I'll do it.
I love
I
it.
just, I want more people to start feeling good about themselves if they're watching. It just happen to be watching me. And thank God, I'm so grateful. Like, I think almost every day I will get some kind of message on my Instagram. Thank you for showing me this. Thank you for showing for me this. Thank you for showing me this.
That's so
And
cool.
that is that gets me so hyped. That is the number one thing I look for every day, is like, did I make a difference in somebody's life, and how? You know? And so I don't know. That's just my thing on that.
Okay, I know we keep saying we're gonna wrap it up, but this is so much fun talking to you. So two things. One, you're totally into the gardening. I gotta tell you, like you're my twin. I'm totally into the gardening. I've been binge
Awesome.
watching YouTube videos on gardening, and I found. Have you seen Back to Eden Gardening? Have you
No,
seen?
but I've heard of it.
Yes. Okay. You have to watch the documentary. Just I'll go like YouTube Back to Eden Gardening documentary. This guy, his name's Paul, and he's lives in Washington State, so same state I'm in. And he grew up in LA, gardening since he was a kid. He would garden in his backyard in LA. So his entire life he's been gardening. And he bought this property up in Squim, which is like on the peninsula in Washington State. And we have
Okay.
really mild weather. Like like, yeah, we get snow, but it's not like terribly cold. We get like, we get up into the 30s Celsius or like 90s Fahrenheit in the summer. But other than that, our average temperature is probably like 68 degrees. Like, we're at 17 Celsius. Like that's probably
Mm.
our average temperature, maybe a little bit lower than that. Like if you average out the whole. So we can grow almost all year round, like probably 6 to 8 months of the year for a regular gardener. Well, he figured out a way to grow all year round, never watering, very little weeding, very little anything. It's just basically like he figured out a way to make a garden grow on its
Mm.
own, and stuff does not die, and stuff only gets better year after year. And that's because he asked God, like, how do I make this work? Because what happened was he bought this property and then they dug a well, and the well would only give them half a gallon of water a minute. And he said, well, this isn't going to work. I spent all this money on this property to make a homestead, and now we don't have enough water to traditionally grow a garden to feed my family, right? Because he was going to
Mm.
live off this land with his family.
Right.
And so he went to nature and he asked God to like show him. He's very religious, and he has like God talks to him. He's like he's a really cool guy.
Right.
And so nature showed him that how you grow vegetables in nature, like if you look where vegetables grow naturally,
Naturally. Right.
no one waters them, right? And
True.
so it involves not tilling the soil, no tilling, and instead putting a several inches of wood chips down, like the full wood, like you get it from arborists, like the full tree, like the leaves or the pine needles and the trunk and the branches and everything just basically chewed up into wood chips. And then he sometimes uses a light dusting of manure, but that's it. That's all he does. And then he puts the seeds either directly on the bark, or he puts the seeds into the soil, like just on the soil, and then covers them up with bark with the wood chips, and that's it. And in the
You know,
summertime, when it's
go ahead.
hot, like when it's like there was 70 days without rain, and his entire garden was green, and he digs underneath the wood chips and shows you after 70 days with no rain, and it was like hot, like in the 90s hot, and that's for Celsius, like in the 30s. And he pulls back the wood chips, and it's the soil is damp. It totally locks in
Hmm.
the moisture. And there are people in the desert areas like California who are using
Hmm.
the gardening successfully. Like there's people all across in different climates using it successfully because this is how nature does it. But anyways, you were saying?
No, this. Well, the funny thing is that what I was saying is that I just stumbled upon a YouTube about a day ago where I saw this gentleman. I'm getting ready to do my sweet potatoes. I've had them in my jar. They're definitely sprouting. All those what are they called again? The slips. The slips are coming out, and so I said, okay, I need to know better. And I stumbled upon this YouTube video where the guy was using sawdust,
Mm-hmm.
or like a combination of sawdust, wood chips, and sand.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And the sweet potatoes he took out of there were mind blowing. He took out about, I don't know, something like 60, 70, 80 pounds worth of sweet potato from just using that. And now you're over here telling me.
Yep. So this guy, I actually called him, talked to him, and he's going to be on the show. It's really exciting.
Oh,
But
I'm going to listen to that.
watch the documentary, and then I'm sure you'll find like 20 other people on YouTube who are also doing his type of gardening. But what I love is that anyone with a backyard, it doesn't matter how big if your backyard is 5 by 5, you could grow so many fruits and vegetables
You just
in
got to know
in a
how, right?
yeah, and and it's
Oh,
so
man.
easy to maintain because it's almost no, like the he does watering. If you just start at the very beginning,
Right.
you might need to just lightly water the for just after you put the seeds down, but that's it.
Hmm.
And in the documentary, they kind of troubleshoot different things you have to know, but that's it. And so we already have our our first delivery of wood chips, because guess what? Wood chips are free from
Nice.
arborists because it costs arborists money. It costs arborists in our area $70 every time they want to dump them at the dump. And so they love giving it to residential areas for free.
That's
And
awesome.
so I'm on a list. The getchips.com is a website that hooks you up with arborists for free. So I've already got our first load, and we're going to get a few more loads, and we're starting our garden. And I'm really, really, really excited to grow all kinds of herbs, and we're gonna see how many
Oh,
months we can live off of our backyard. And there's people doing it, there's people living off of their own land. And it's this coming back to nature that is incredibly therapeutic. They've shown that it actually is an antidepressant.
right?
Um, and it's also incredibly healthy for children. Like you said, your 2-year-old is learning where food comes from. It makes kids appreciate. I know a kid who would not eat vegetables at all. He was actually on the spectrum, and through diet and nutrition and supplements, the parents got him off the spectrum. The parents got him so healthy that the body detoxed, and he got tested. He was on the spectrum when he was about 4 or 5. Now he's 9. He got tested again. He's no longer on the spectrum, and the parents got him gardening in their front yard. They have a very small front yard, like 5 by 10 kind of yard, but they got kiddie pools. They filled them with dirt, and they grew kale and all kinds of things. And
Wow, I love that.
the kid grew food with them, and because he chose the seeds, he put the seeds in the earth, he watered them every day, weeded them, he started eating that food. Started actually for the first time in his life started eating, like he was the kid, like typical would not eat any vegetables. But after the parents started growing, and they also parents kind of bribed him. They said like they had this bribe, they're like, if you eat a new vegetable every week all summer long, where you're gonna get the new Nintendo Wii, whatever it's called. Like he had to earn it, right?
Right.
And that was his motivation. But also he grew the vegetables too, right? And so he loved that. Now, I mean, you can't get this kid to not eat his vegetables. Like it's the first thing he eats, and he loves
It's
vegetables.
amazing.
It's so cool. And now he's not on the spectrum. Like it's so. I've met parents who've gotten their kids, and I've happened to have. I'm friends with these people. I've known this kid since he was like 3, and I watched the transformation. So many kids are misdiagnosed being on the spectrum because they're toxic. Their body's filled with heavy
Yes.
metals and toxic, and they're eating foods that don't agree with the body. And when you get someone clean and healthy, their mental state shifts, their emotional state shifts, like as you've
Yes.
seen, their physical state shifts. So like yeah, just even if someone lives in an apartment, they can grow tomatoes and some kale on their on their porch, like, or
Yes.
indoors. There are
And they
indoor
had the
in
hydroponic
yeah,
stuff.
in
Yep.
hydroponics. Or but the idea of being a little bit more self-sufficient,
Yes.
coming back to, there's something called victory gardens, which we used to do in World War I and World War II. We used
Really?
to grow our own. Yeah, look, Google victory
Victory
gardens.
Gardens?
Everyone used to have, every single front yard and backyard used to have a garden in it. We all, like, you know what? In the last 50 years, like, we've forgotten ourselves. We've
Yes.
forgotten what it is to be human.
Well, that's the thing,
Um,
actually. I don't think it's that we've forgotten. And I know this is whatever anybody wants to think. I think it's just like via media,
mm,
they've just been training us to
mm,
to about consuming, like to be consumers. Like, no, don't do that. That takes too much time. We'll do it for you. Just come over here and buy
right.
our stuff. And because of the media, like constantly in our face, some of us just be like, yeah, you know what? I'm not
Hmm.
gonna, why self-sustain when someone else can take care of me? It's the easier thing to do. And that's the sad thing. I think I feel like almost like we've been trained to not want to do that. And that's why a lot of people, like you said, a lot of people look at us a little odd, but it's like, you know what? I just want to become more so self-sustained. I don't know what's like, there's been no one knows what's going on out there with the food.
Hmm.
They say they do, and then 6 months later they're like, nope, we were wrong. You know what I mean? And it's
Right.
like, so first of all, get rid of that. And I can't wait. Like, again, I'm not focusing on the process of me gardening. I'm not focusing on that, even though I really love it. Like you said, that's the first thing I do when I wake up, Ashley. I don't know about you. That's the first thing I do now because, like I said, I got everything going already. So, um, it's just it's less stress. I can't tell you. And then I've added that. I think between meditation and my gardening, that's helped my anxiety levels and all that kind of stuff. And then the
Mm.
food has helped me with physically. And then it's like mind, body, soul kind of thing. And the funny thing is that when people used to say that to me, I would just laugh and thought they were nuts. You know what I mean? Of when people are like, life's about mind, body, soul. You got to take care of all of them to be like in balance. And I'm like, yeah, okay, go and light an incense somewhere. You know what I mean? That was me. And it's so sad to say it. And now I'm over here. Well, I don't like incense, but I got my essential oils and stuff. But yeah, I think it's time we take back our like little land that we have in the back or front yard, or like you said, an apartment or a little porch, and we start taking we got to start taking our lives back. I feel like a lot of our
Mhm.
lives are under control of like this other thing, and I'm just so glad that I'm like breaking myself free from that world, and taking things on my own, and seeing what I can do, and taking it one day at a time, one step at a time, meeting amazing people like you, and coming up with ideas, and giving feedback and helping each other. That's the world I want to live in. That's the life I want to continue. And
Mhm.
I would love for my kids to try to do that too. I can show them the way. I know it's up to them at the later on. They have to decide, but it's up to me to show them now. It's up to you and I to show our kids now. And at the end of the day, that's when I want to go to sleep knowing that I made some kind of difference, and that we're like moving forward in the life we really want to live, and the lifestyle rather that we really want to live. And I think it's very important, like you said, that we start tapping back into the way it was back then, like with the victory gardens and all that. We so need that right now. I don't know if that's how you feel, but I feel a lot of us need that.
I totally agree with you. Now, to wrap it up, you are about to launch in the next few months a new business, and I'm really excited
Yes.
for you. So, I want to encourage our Orlando listeners, or our listeners who have friends and family in Orlando, to follow you, because you're going to be launching the plant-based hut in the coming
Hmm.
months in Orlando. Tell us a little bit about what this business is going to provide for the residents of Orlando.
Oh man, so I don't think I've ever been so excited and scared at the same time about something in my life. As you mentioned before, I've been doing this since 2012, and I've always questioned myself, like, how else can I, I influence or do something good with this Instagram? And a lot of people decided, may give me a lot of ideas, but until now, I've really, with this lifestyle change, like, this is truly it. This is truly it. I want to continue this. So just like any human, when you find something so good, you can't hold on to it. You want to spread the word, right? You want to just spread it. So this plant-based lifestyle has made such a difference for me. I know there's so many people out there going through chronic illness and all that, and sometimes I feel like it's getting worse. So I've decided to finally not just launch any kind of meal prep, but it's going to be the first ever like plant-based only meal prep in Central Florida, possibly in all of Florida, but I can't confirm that right now. But from my research so far, the plant-based only meal prep service in Central Florida, Orlando area, and I am so excited. I know it doesn't sound like it, but like I'm at a loss of words from how excited I am. And it's just like wrapping up everything that we've said. It's like, this is my way of giving back. Like, this is how I can help. And it's like, if this is the way to introduce people, and they can come back and say, wow, those meals were, not only were they great, but I'm feeling better. Because there's eating and saying, gosh, I'm so full and I'm so happy. But then there's something else about eating healing foods that heal, that's very filling, and it's a full meal, and it's, again, it's healing. Gosh, like, to me, that is the difference I want to make, knowing that I just served something to someone that they're eating, and they probably have no real idea how much what I put into it. Like, I'm putting like the most healing foods I can find, I'm going to put into it. And so I'm just very excited about this plant-based meal prep company that we're going to start here in Orlando. And yeah, it's called the Plant-Based Hut. They can sign up at theplantbasedhut.com, and they can just sign up to get notified when we do our official launch. And then we'll probably look into doing like going to farmers markets after that, And who knows, possibly selling our food and even selling our own produce there, our organic produce. That would be pretty cool. But
Awesome.
I'm very excited.
Very cool. So basically, you will send people in Orlando um is it fully prepped meals, like that's all ready for them to heat up themselves, or
Correct. So some
oh,
of it,
very cool.
most of it won't even have to be heated up. You can eat it cold, or so that, again, another beautiful thing about it, because a lot of it you won't need a microwave. And it's all going to be plant based. It's going to be prepared meals, and we're going to start off with delivery. So believe it or not, we're going to have the delivery. So it's going to be delivered. Within a certain radius. We're calculating that right now. So it will be, for now, delivery. So we'll bring it to your office or your home, and we're going from 3 meals up to 5 meals, and so we're going to start there. We're going to considering doing 2, but usually people ask for 3 and 5. So it's going to be 3 fully cooked meals or 5 fully cooked meals, all plant based. And you'll see the calories, you'll see all the the macros and all of that. I'm more excited to get the return customers and say this has made such a difference in my life. That's that's my victory right there. You know.
Nice. Very cool. Well, I can't wait to hear how it goes. I'm rooting for you. I so for listeners that are in Orlando, or for friends and family of listeners that are in Orlando, they can go to, is it theplantbasedhut.com?
Yes.
Okay, great.
And then, it's, yeah,
They
and
can
they can
sign
just
up,
get notified.
get
So when we
notified.
start launching, yep.
All right, terrific. Well, everyone, let's go to on Instagram at Meal Prep Mondays and follow our our wonderful guest, Alex Torres. It's been such a trip having you on the show today. I know you're going to be back on the show.
Oh, I love it.
We just had to get to know you in this episode, and I'll make sure that you share more of your gold with us as as we have you on the show again and again. Thank you so much for coming and sharing. I really feel a kindred spirit with you, and I know my listeners also feel a kindred spirit
Oh,
with you. We tend to attract each other. My listeners write me a lot, and they say, "I feel like I know you," and I have to say back to my listeners, I feel like I know you. I feel like I know all my listeners, because we're all going through this health transformation
yeah.
together. We're all trying different things, and having the crazy aunts and uncles that push the gluten on us or whatever, right? Or push the meat on us.
Yep.
We're all going through these similar experiences, and we're all going to learn from each other. So I encourage
True.
listeners to join our Facebook group. Go to Facebook and search Learn True Health and join the group, or go to learntruehealth.com/group. Join the Facebook group. Alex, come join our Facebook group.
Yes.
And anyone who has questions or can ask you some questions, and we can start a discussion about this. I love how we get listeners that just ask random health questions in the Facebook group, and all these people pop out of the woodwork to support them. And it's a great community. So if you love the show, you'll love basically the after show, which is the Facebook group. Alex, has been wonderful having you on the show. Thank you so much. You definitely got to come back, and good luck with
Absolutely.
your business. I'm rooting for you, and I'm really excited to hear how you take off with it. Theplantbasedhut.com for your Orlando based vegetarian meal prep business. And of
Thank you,
course,
Ashley.
I've already reinstalled Instagram onto my phone to follow you. So
That's awesome. I'm so happy. I don't think you're not going to be disappointed. You won't be disappointed. And you might learn a couple things, and you'll see what I'm doing too in the back, and so that's very exciting. I hope you do.
well, I already tagged you actually, because your Instagram
Oh
inspired
yeah.
me to make a jackfruit for lunch for my husband and I took a picture of it.
I
and
love
uh
it.
and so I tagged you in it. So now I'm back on Instagram. Thank you very much. So
Awesome.
listeners can find me at learntruehealth.com. I'm on Instagram. And so is our wonderful meal prep expert, Alex.
You're the best, Ashley. I've loved this. This has just been the best. And it's like you said, I'm so glad that we clicked so well. I'm so happy you brought me on.
Awesome. Well, you're definitely going to come back. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Ashley. You have a good one, okay? I'll keep in contact.
I want to tell you about something I really believe in, which is nutrition. On my show, I get to talk to specialists throughout the entire health universe, chiropractors, herbalists, naturopaths, mental and emotional health coaches, and licensed healthcare providers. Amazing pieces to the puzzle we call health. All of these, of course, are supposing that you're actually eating. We eat to get all the raw building blocks our body requires. And that's where the problem starts. There's no more food in our food, right? I think everyone knows about the deficiencies in our soil that our food is grown in. Those deficiencies are passed down to us unless we can supplement. Which brings me to takeyoursupplements.com. These people work with my go-to doctor, my go-to naturopath, for all my supplements. I've used them for 7 years. My family and I love them. They work. And if you'd love to address your nutrient deficiencies and figure out what supplements are right for you, then you definitely want to go to takeyoursupplements.com. You put in your information, and within 24 hours, one of their health coaches contact you, and for free, will talk with you and figure out exactly what supplements are best for you, the highest quality for the lowest price that fit into your budget and address your nutrient needs. They're amazing coaches. I've known them for years. I love them. They're wonderful people. They have a huge heart, and they really want to help you to dial in your supplements and your diet and your lifestyle to achieve your health goals. So go to takeyoursupplements.com and put in your information now. That's takeyoursupplements.com. You will be very happy you did. Hello, True Health Seeker. I have a very exciting announcement. I have spent over a year, I've spent about 14 months collecting all of my information that I use with my clients for ending anxiety. And I created an online program. I'm very excited about it. We just launched it. And for you, for free, I have a webinar where I teach you 2 powerful mind tricks for removing anxiety, ending worry, and controlling fear so it stops controlling you and your life. In my free webinar, you will learn what causes anxiety and how to stop it, the science behind the mind-body connection, overcoming fear of public speaking, getting unstuck, ending that fear of things not working out, ending procrastination and overwhelm, and feeling excited, grounded, and calm instead of fear and worry. I have so much to teach you in my free webinar, and I'm really excited for you to come check it out. Go to freeyouranxiety.com/webinar. That's freeyouranxiety.com/webinar, or look in the show notes of today's podcast and you'll see the link there so you can jump into the webinar and learn all these wonderful, powerful tools that will end your anxiety and create excitement and happiness instead. Go to freeyouranxiety.com/webinar and sign up now, and I look forward to seeing you in the next live webinar.